Welcome to Move, Sweat, Discover, the podcast where fitness meets self-discovery. My name is Avi, and today we have a treat. We have Roshan Melwani. Now, Roshan is a viral TikTok tailor behind the Hong Kong institution that is Sam's Tailor, which was founded in 1957 by Sam Melwani. The shop has seen such celebrity clientele such as Queen Elizabeth II, Bill Clinton, Russell Crowe, Kevin Spacey, Sigourney Weaver, to name a few. As COVID restrictions affected tourism throughout the world in 2020, Roshan had to innovate, market himself, Sam's Tailor, the suits, the star clients to the world online. Thus, the TikTok Tailor was born. Popular for his zany reviews of custom suits and his clients, I welcome to Move, Sweat, Discover, Roshan Melwani.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
My absolute pleasure. I don't know how much a treat I am to your viewership, though. I guess we will all find out.
Yeah, so we've known each other actually for a number of years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were my client.
I was your client, you were my client.
Yeah,
I made you a pair of pants for like 20 years ago. So.
Yes, something like that. I think that was the time when I was working in lifestyle concierge.
100%.
So
yeah.
I catered to your every whim.
Very much so.
Did I do a good job?
You did a great job. I mean, we're friends here 20 years later. You've done a great job.
So though we've known each other for a number of years, I wanted to deep dive into who it is that you are, get to know you a little bit better today. So can we start from the beginning? Who is Roshan Melwani? Tell me about your humble beginnings, growing up in Hong Kong. What were you like as a kid?
Okay, so very broad. I could take this in any direction. I don't know how humble my beginnings were. My dad pretended to us that they were very, very humble, but I could see right through that, obviously. As a child, I think that my first 10 years were quite extraordinary. A lot of love for my grandfather, a lot of love for all my grandparents, a lot of love from all my uncles and aunts and stuff. And, you know, if I just try to tie my childhood to my career right now, what I would say is that, you know, at any given age of my life that I can remember back to, you know, I mean, whether it's a toddler to a 10-year-old, I'd walk into my shop and be looking up and be surrounded by people. Okay, and it was quite fascinating, and a lot of the times these people were celebrities. You know, I was a big tennis fan for a big portion of my life. And, you know, at such a young age, I met John McEnroe, Mats Wilander, Ivan Lendl, Boris Becker, and Stefan Edberg. Okay, these were all Grand Slam winners. It was nutty. And you mentioned Queen Elizabeth. My father, I believe, first worked with Queen Elizabeth when the Britannia sailed in. I don't know if I think I was in primary 5. So, gosh, maybe that was 87. I really can't remember the exact year and stuff. And he went on to the Britannia and he met the Queen. And, you know, I remember, and we still have the iconic photos from that. And, you know, he worked with a plethora of stars. You know, I'm a guy's guy, so I'm always going to be into sport. So, you know, he worked with a lot of snooker players, and I got to meet, you know, Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, Jimmy White, every single world snooker star. At that time, in the 80s, snooker was huge in Hong Kong. They'd have this major tournament out here every year. You know, this question, I could go on talking about it. I met Wham, gosh, in the 80s, Andrew Ridgeley, George Michael.
Yeah.
I met the Pet Shop Boys, okay? Roberta Flack, Janet Jackson, I think it was, yeah. Kylie Minogue, goodness me, Jason Donovan, right? So I don't know, you know, I will talk about my childhood associated to my business. So for me, growing up, it was like my father is like a megastar. I wouldn't say he was my hero at all, because I saw him for a very limited time. And, you know, he's a tough dad. And I think at that time, I know now, at that time, I didn't realize that, you know, everything that he was doing for the business, right? But he was doing for us or for himself, that's a completely different story, okay? But, you know, now many years ahead on this road, I realized that he was doing everything for himself, building this great and amazing business for himself. And regardless of his intentions at that time, I'm super grateful because it's all mine. Whether he gives it to me or not, whether he likes me, he doesn't like me, it doesn't matter. I'm Indian, and it is my rightful claim, being his one and only son and his oldest child. And then at age 11, my parents split, and my life took a very different course. My mom took the three of us, me and my two younger sisters, and we went to my grandparents, her parents, and stuff. And I don't know, I had this. I was not close to my father at all, and I was super close to my mom. But I was just like it didn't sit right with me. Regardless of my mom's unhappiness that she was telling us about and stuff, and the reasoning, I was like, listen, I didn't even do the numbers back then. I didn't realize Sam Tailor supposedly opened in 1957. This was 1988, and then we'd been around for 31 years and stuff. I didn't know the terms heritage or legacy and so forth. And in terms of wealth and so forth, I don't think we were way up the ladder in any sense compared to our community. Over the overwhelming population. But I knew we had something special, and I wanted to stay a part of it. So after a few months, I made a huge, massive, crazy decision. I don't know how an 11-year-old does that I would go and just stay with my father and be part of the Melwani family and be part of the Sam Tailor family. And I think that is when my life really began, because divorce at that young age is a real eye-opener. And then living alone with a man that you really, yes, he's your dad, but you didn't spend much time with him for 11 years, and he's not really able to look after a child. It was huge. So, it took me back to this movie, this Dustin Hoffman movie called Kramer versus Kramer. I can't remember the woman in it. I know the woman, I can't remember her name. She's won a ton of Oscars. She's been nominated for 20-something Oscars and stuff. And, I don't know, I watched that movie so many times in the 80s on VHS. It kept coming on TV with Pearl even. And, I never thought that would actually happen to me, right? And that sort of hardship that Dustin Hoffman has with his child, his son, is sort of that hardship that me and my father had, trying to be a dad, me needing to be a dad, and stuff. And also his inability to put the business aside because it counted on him and that's all he cared about. But then his having to put the business aside to take care of his son really forged a bond between us that I think is unbreakable deep down inside. And that is my true birth. That is the true birth of me. And whether my dad likes me now, whether my dad talks to me now, or whatever it is, at any stage in our relationship, I just think that because we were so scarred but we were forged together. You've got twins that are born that you've got to remove, right? I think we were surgically scarred together for life, me and my father. And and then we move forward from there.
What was the pull that kind of made you move back with your father?
Ultimately, that he had nobody. So my mom already had a huge support network, okay? A support network that was progressive and modern, that lived in that time. She had her brother, she had her sisters, she had her mother, okay? They were progressive. They lived in the current era, 1988, okay? Whereas my father really did not have a support network. Yes, people supported him and stuff because they came to his support. They came to his rescue because he was crestfallen, okay? But other than that, I'm saying, their mentality, their mindset, and I'm not being scathing in any ways, I'm just trying to paint a picture for you, was prehistoric. And two, I wasn't sure if that, yes, they'd come to his rescue now because, like I said, he was completely damaged, but whether they could be there for him in the long run. So I don't know, Avi. It was something biblical. I'll tell you honestly. I know it sounds silly, but I was in either my aunt or my grandmother's room sometime in the fall of 1988, and it's a crazy story because I picked up the phone and then I typed in his direct line, okay? And he picked up the phone and I couldn't say anything. Nothing was coming from my mouth. And then he realized it was me and he just broke down. And I never heard my father break down. And I broke down. And I never broken down like that ever. right? Like that was actually breaking down. It's different from a child crying when they don't get something, or a child getting hurt
Yeah.
and crying stuff. It was a true breakdown. And I realized, I felt as though God entered me at that very moment, and made me call my father. Okay. And I've told this story to a number of people, and I've told the same story for decades. Okay. And yeah, and then we were cast together. It was just completely meant to be. And I don't know how things would be if I stayed with my mom. And I don't even want to think about that stuff. I think that I'm so grateful and so happy to have reached where I am in my life.
Yeah.
And I think that, everybody has setbacks, right? You'd be foolish if you're going to be successful. The more successful you are, the more setbacks you're going to have. Whatever your successes are, you have many, many, many more pitfalls and setbacks to equal that one success. And I'm really happy, extremely happy and proud of myself what I've achieved, where I've reached in my life.
I want to continue on this path a little bit later, but I just want to pause to ask you, what was fitness and movement? How did that play a part, like when you were growing up?
Okay.
You mentioned that you were into sports, right?
So I think when you have a divorce at a very young age, right, it's very, very difficult. And also, we were the first ever Indian divorce at that time in Hong Kong. So it was a huge spotlight on us. So I don't know if that made me withdrawn and stuff. It just made me very conscious and careful. Okay.
Okay.
But what I will tell you is this, that I grew up on a very, very, very healthy diet for me, mentally and physically. And probably my wife will tell you the opposite. And most people will tell you, no, this was unhealthy, of Rocky and Rambo and Commando, and watching, incessant, violent American films and stuff, right? But we didn't live in an era of the selfie or the iPhone or the six-pack and stuff.
Yeah.
I just thought these guys were phenomenal, and I wanted to be like these guys, and so forth. And I like sport, and I just played a lot of sport, but there was no science in those days. There is no science. There's no iPhone. There's no internet. There's nothing in your hand. So you're not thinking movement, okay? You're not thinking physique, okay? You're not thinking goals. You're not thinking anything. You're just thinking, I want to beat the other guy, and that's it. So I had a very healthy diet of tennis growing up, and I just wanted to become better and better at tennis. I had a very healthy diet of squash, and I played a lot of soccer and stuff, right? And that was pretty much it. And I think you can. At that time, believe it or not, with the amount of football on telly now, right? Okay, people cannot imagine that growing up we had no football on television. Okay, we'd get the World Cup when it played. Okay, at God knows what time of night on terrestrial television, and you'd get the FA Cup, the English FA Cup, the semi-finals and the finals only, and then you'd get 2 magazine programs during the week, one on the English Football League, the first division, and one on Italian Serie A. So that's all you really watch. But I wasn't trying to go out there and, replicate Marco van Basten or Ruud Gullit in what they did. But what you did get was you got the US Open live, you got the Australian Open live, you got Wimbledon live, and you got the French Open live. And I don't think at that time the athletes were athletic, okay? And gosh, that's a huge statement, right? Obviously, right? But you did not notice and see the athleticism. That athleticism was born from Djokovic, Nadal, and Murray, okay? And I'm not saying Federer is not athletic. His movement is second to none and stuff. That athleticism, that ability to see athleticism came much later. And if you had no technology whatsoever, okay, and you had no internet and you had no iPhone, nothing. But if you saw these 3 guys play, you'd be like, oh my God, this is athleticism at its finest. So, like I loved Mike Tyson. I liked the Pistons. I liked, Isaiah Thomas. I liked the tough side of the game. Bill Laimbeer. Who didn't love Magic Johnson? But, if the Pistons went up against them, I'd want the bad boys, we nicknamed the bad boys, to win. I was never a Michael Jordan fan, so I didn't really buy into how phenomenal he was and so forth. So it was always there, right? But it wasn't there for me to analyze and to say, oh, I want to achieve this, I want to be athletic, I want to move like this and stuff, I want to replicate this, right? You know, in those days, kids did go out with balls and try and replicate their heroes. I wasn't one of them, okay? But what it did do was sport was automatically part of my life. Like, I just didn't understand how anybody couldn't be sporty, couldn't want to watch sport, didn't want to go out and play sport and stuff. And until I actually started drinking alcohol, right, I think at any given opportunity, right, I would go out and do something, whether it was soccer, tennis, squash, basketball, you name it. So I was not conscious of any of this. And none of the stuff that I did was premeditated. I just thought that it was a normal part of life.
So you were living with your dad, growing up with your dad, and how did you get into the business?
Okay, so that comes much later, right?
Was it like predisposition that you were
No, not at all. So let me tell you. So between the ages of 11 and 16, I did spend a lot of time at the shop, 11, 15, say, during summer, Easter, and Christmas holidays, interacting with clients and taking orders. But the business dynamic was very different from how it is now.
You were working.
I was working.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm living proof of child labor in China.
Yeah.
Super proud of it as well, right? And, you know, those days, the business, the product is not design orientated, okay? It's fast suits at cheap prices,
Yeah.
and great work. I mean, people flying in, you know, buying 10 suits because they cost nothing. And in those days, everyone wore a suit, all right? There's no Lululemon and all this stuff, right? I mean, that this culture did not exist. The work from home did not exist. Dress down Friday did not exist. This predates all of that. So everybody wore a suit. You're a man, you're a woman, you wear a suit. That's basically it. Everyone's wearing a suit. It was amazing at a young age to talk to people. And I think one of the greatest things my dad told me maybe when I was age 12 was like, he told me, I took an order from a guy, I think he was Swiss, okay? And so I took the order in the morning. He comes back for his fitting this in the afternoon. So it's like my second day on the job or whatever, or third day on the job. And my dad goes, Roshan, what are you doing? I said, what? He goes, you're just sitting around. I said, okay. He said, this guy flew to Hong Kong. I wish my dad was like this now. He's not like this now, all right? He reminds me of how I am now with my children. But it was only this one moment. And he said, this guy flew from Switzerland to come buy a suit. You took the order. Now what? He's just waiting for the fitting? You don't want to talk to him? I said, Papa, I'm 12. What do you want me to talk to him about? And he said, you could ask them, have you been to the peak yet? Where did you have lunch? What are you planning on trying whilst you're in Hong Kong? Where are you going to have dinner tonight? Simple things. And I was like, whoa. I was like, oh my goodness. And that completely shaped me. That simple thing made me the man that I am today, right? Like, because so many people are scared of striking up a conversation. And I don't know how young people are, right? I only know how I was at any given age and so forth. And at any given age, until I got married, until I got engaged and stuff. And I was like always psyching myself up. I was like, bro, go and talk to this girl. Go and talk to this girl. All I did was like, go and talk to this girl. And it's like, bro, if you don't talk, nothing happens if you don't go and talk to her. Okay? Like, and if you do go and talk to her, and she rejects you, right? It's the same thing. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Try not to.
Yeah.
Try to be on my best behavior here.
Do.
Okay.
Be yourself.
It's like nothing happens, bro. Don't be a fucking pussy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if she rejects you, bro, you're going to be in the same position. So just go fucking talk to the girl. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't need icebreakers. I don't need icebreaking games. I don't need people to talk to. I spend most of my time talking to myself. I know that sounds silly, right?
No, I talk to myself.
Yeah, so I just talk to myself, right? It's much better. As I've grown older, and especially now, I've shed myself of all friends, okay, and happily so. And I feel so, I'm like, oh my God. Once I shed myself of all friends, right, like completely, right? And some friends were hard, right, to shed because they're so good to you and stuff, right? It is like the most liberating thing in the world. I swear to you, like to have no, like, I don't know, like I have an obligation to my children, and to my wife and to my father and my business. Okay. And that's something that I chose. Okay. I'm a big believer that if you bring children into this world, then you're obligated to them. Okay. So, I mean, I'm tough, right? And I can do tough love, right? But, I don't isolate my kids. I don't punish my kids. And I'm not being judgmental here, right? Like my kids are my problem, right? If they want something, then I need to get it for them. Okay. And I'm not talking about physical things in life, and my kids are still young, so they don't really portray to me what they want. I will tell you that a lot of journalists, right, have come after me and saying that, are you creating the right environment for your children? Okay. Because I've always said my job, okay, is to carve out opportunity for my kids. Okay. It's to carve out opportunity for my kids. I brought them into this world. Okay. I don't know how they are. Too young to judge them, but I'm a big fan of nepotism and I'm a big fan of my kids. Some people are more interested in Liverpool or Serena Williams, and they put all their effort into being a Swiftie. I was like, bro, that's okay. It's cool. It's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun to be a Swiftie. It's fun to dedicate your life to cosplay. And I'm too aggressive. Being the father that I am, you know what I mean? Making sure that, everybody knows my kids. You know what I'm saying? And they should be like Moses when they walk. The Red Sea should part for them. I mean, like other people's insinuations and accusations and thought process doesn't, I can't understand and stuff, right? I have this huge obligation to my children, which doesn't burden me at all. It just motivates me and stuff. And, I have really, really, really traditional prehistoric beliefs, especially considering I left my mom at the age of 11 to join a family with really, really, really traditional prehistoric beliefs. And my belief is that, I must create enough of everything, okay? Happiness, laughter, joy, safety, wealth for my children.
Was that something that you saw in your dad?
I don't know. I don't know, right? I think my father has, from time to time always have good intentions towards me and stuff. I think I don't know if my mom leaving him scarred him and it made it hard for him to love. I don't know if I'm telling you genuinely, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't like to play psychologist. Okay. Seriously, that's not the guy that I am. And I don't know that how his parents loved him and stuff, and whether that affected him. But what I do know is that my dad has a lot of good intentions for me and towards me. But I think the problem between me and my father is that he wants me to obey, right? Do this, do that, be this way, be that, be this person. And I cannot be that guy, right? I think we have the complete same goal. I don't know why he can't see it, or maybe he does see it, but he doesn't like the way I go about things. And that's not just now, that's just always, right? So I think we all both me and my dad want to reach the same point, okay? But we have very different ways of going about it, okay? And he has uber success, far more success than I do in any ways. And my success is incomparable to his. My success is just very different from his, and so forth. So I will give him that, right? But I also think the fact that nothing. I will always replace. I would try to replace things with no, because I want to give you facts, not insinuations. I know as a fact, right, that if he chose to groom me properly, right, groom, teach, advise, explain, right, then I would listen to him all the way. But ordering me do this, do that, I can't understand it. You know what I mean? I should just trust Mr. Miyagi here. You know Mr. Miyagi is?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Just trust Mr. Miyagi. This wax on, wax off shit was not working for me. Okay? And
So was he trying to get you to take over business, or
100% no.
something you wanted to do?
So yeah, you asked me that question, and so I finished KG5, age 18. I finished my A-levels, and I went to NYU, all right, so New York University. I spent 3 years in New York. It was too cold, so in hindsight, I should have stayed for 5, and I tell young people everywhere to stay in the education system for as long as they possibly can, because eventually when you exit it, right, no matter how much time you spend studying, you're going to spend way more time working.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been working since I'm 21 years old. I graduated university. I'm 48 now. I've been working more than half my life. it's crazy. Yeah, I'm saying it really is shit. I worked 5 days a week from graduation up until I joined my father, and I work 6.5 days a week. This is my 26-year-old job, and I work 6.5 days a week. No, by all means, no. My father told me always never join this business. It's
Okay.
very tough business. It's a very tough business. He goes, Roshan, it's a very tough business, very tough business, very tough business. And I also think that he genuinely believed that I would fail. I would fail because of how the hours and the dedication. Okay. But what he didn't realize is that I had him in front of me putting in the hours and the dedication, the grind, right? So that's just easy motivation. It's right there in front of you, right? Your dad's working so hard, you're just going to work hard. But, I wouldn't say he implored me not to join, but he advised me that, this is probably not a good path for me and stuff, and that I should pursue being in some sort of professional services and not join his business or be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then when I joined his business, he told me that it would probably be better if I looked at other avenues of business, such as trading, manufacturing in China, and shipping goods abroad, and that I would be more successful that way. But I think you have been to my shop, and I don't know if your viewers have, right? But even if you've never been to my shop, you can turn on any media platform and you can see what's happening in my shop. The walls are adorned with celebrities, okay? I think it's very difficult for you to stand in a store and you've got presidents of the United States, prime ministers of the United Kingdom, prime ministers of Canada, Grand Slam winning tennis players, Grammy winning singers, and Oscar winning actors and actresses on the wall, and a whole host of other people, right? Like, I think it's very difficult to not want to be a part of that, okay?
Yeah.
Especially if you are the one and only, you know what I mean? The only son, the firstborn son, the everything, right? Like, and stuff. So I'm never thinking to myself like, oh, what's going to happen to the business if I don't join it? I'm never thinking that. And I'm never thinking to myself that, oh, the business is mine, because till today it's never been said, hey, this is yours. You know what I mean? And so forth. So I can't really answer you precisely why I chose to join my business and stay with Bob. I'm going to explain to you my quick journey to that. So I left NYU in 3 years by cashing in the credits that my A-levels gave me, and they did a couple of summers. Like I said, in hindsight, I should stay for 5 years. But I chose finance and economics as a degree because that was the thing to do. I was in New York. I was in the Stern School of Business. I'm stupid. You know what I mean? I'm an idiot. I followed the crowd. I've never followed the crowd since. I think it was a big learning lesson. Age of 21 after graduating, I said, I'm never listening to anybody ever again. I'm going to listen to my heart. I'm never going to listen to my brain. You know what I mean? I'm listening to my heart only. I should learn marketing, which is what I enjoy, right? I think that look, you've got to be really stupid. And am I being judgmental? Yeah, but I have every right to be, right? You've got to be really stupid if you are watching me, have been watching me, watch me a little, watch me a lot, and not realize that my entire persona is about selling suits. I'm here on this earth to keep my business going forward and sell suits in any which ways, okay? Things like COVID, things like the social unrest here forced my hand. Okay. And, I have a massive responsibility, not just to my family and my father's family and my uncle's family, but also to all the people that work for me and stuff. Right. And, I have to pivot fast, whatever comes my way, to keep my business going. Right. And how do you keep your business going? How do you keep a business like mine going? Is you market it to the world. You market it to anybody and everybody around you. And that's what I do. So I got a great job at, if I'm going to be giving away secrets, then I can't be giving away names. Okay. If I give away names, then I can't give away secrets. Okay. So what I'm going to say is that I try and do it hybrid. I got a great job at a great multinational firm. Thanks to my father's contacts. And I was sort of grandfathered into this job. And I was exposed to cutting edge work at the age of 21, going to 22. And this was only a 6-month stint here in Hong Kong. I'd returned to Hong Kong with no I'd returned to Hong Kong during the Asian financial crisis, where it was very, very difficult to get a job. That doesn't mean I wasn't getting interviews, and that doesn't mean I wasn't getting offers. It was just a very, very tricky period. It was also a very stupid period because my dad wouldn't buy me a computer.
Oh.
He just refused. Okay. I had a tiny little room. He was remarried. And I was like, bro, how do I type? How do I contact people? How do I type up my resume? How do I send it? So he calls his friend who has an office in our building and he said, let my son come and use your computer. Right? It was a pretty dickish thing to do. Okay. So I didn't get this. I don't know if this was more Mr. Miyagi stuff, okay? Like, but none of this stuff washed with me. You know, it just made me think he's a dick, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't understand this. You know, are you doing Mr. Miyagi? Are you doing wax on, wax off? I don't know what you're doing, but it's pretty stupid, right? And so forth. So that's how he is. 99.9999% of the time, right? And the 0.001% of the time, he's like incredible, okay? And so forth. So he gets me this job, okay? And I don't want to go take this job. But then he's pissed at me. I was like, bro, I've been interviewing for all these jobs and I have offers, I'm done. He's like, I got you this job. Take the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff. And he had me sit down with these people and stuff. And I felt awful, like turning down the offers I got after going through the interview process. Okay. And then, when actual employers telling me, no, we really want you. What's happened? And why have you chosen to go into this industry? There's absolutely no scope for you and stuff. And like I said, I won't name the names of the firms because then I can't tell you the secrets and stuff, right? So he made me take this job. And it was amazing. Okay. There was no real career path for me, but I was exposed to the most cutting edge stuff at such a young age, working with incredible people, much older than me, much more qualified than me, much more intelligent than me, and who took me on as a favor to my father, but they also wanted a dog, right? Do anything,
Sure.
forget, I'm not into this. It didn't exist then, but I think that they could already see it, that, I don't clock out Friday at 6, I don't clock out any day at 6, I don't need coffee, I don't need a lunch break, I don't need workers' rights, I mean? I don't need a union, I don't need any of that garbage. Tell me what you want me to do, I'm going to do it, okay? I'm grateful. I think we had a conversation before we downstairs when we got up here, and I told you that, I'm struggling with the people closest to me. I feel they're not grateful enough for what they have. They're always looking at what they don't have. Doesn't make sense to me. At every point in my life, I've been grateful. I have never yearned for something. Okay. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you where it was born from. Gosh, we haven't even reached the year 2000 yet. So I'll tell you where it was born from. I went to Kalung Junior in the 80s. Like every time you go to assembly, they just show you stuff of Ethiopia, the famine. Okay. And I wouldn't say that scarred me or inspired me. It just stuck with me. And I realized from a very young age that how much I have. I don't need to be Elon Musk to have everything. Yeah, I don't need to be Cristiano Ronaldo to have everything. I am Roshan, and I really have everything. And even Roshan, 8 years old, had everything. Because when you looked at those Ethiopians, I mean, bro, we can see what's happening in Gaza now, right? And you see, how skinny those kids are. I mean, in Ethiopia in the 80s, during the famine, I mean, it was en masse skinniness, right? I mean, the bones are dripping from the body, bro. There's no flesh and stuff. So that kind of stuff stuck with me always, right? So I'm not into unions. I'm not into activism. I'm not into wokeism. I'm not into leftism. I'm not into any of this stuff. Okay, and even when this stuff didn't exist in 1998, these guys hired me because they didn't want to deal with people. They just wanted their work done.
Yeah.
So I got an amazing exposure. Now, 3 months into my 6 months tenure, we talk about nepotism. Geez, I got an offer to move to London.
Yeah.
Now, this offer came from someone on my mom's side. My mom's best friend's husband was starting a company in London. And my mom told him that you need a grunt, right? And his wife told him, right, that you need someone to make something happen. Now, this is not my opinion or impression or anything. But my mom and her best friend were telling this man that you're not going to find someone when you're starting a new company up in the United Kingdom, in London, that is going to grunt work like in Hong Kong. right? So this guy's like, yeah, okay, I want a Hong Kong type mentality. This guy's going to work all the time. So yet again, through nepotism, I got grandfathered into this incredible company where I was doing a startup now, where, now startup is such a common word that back then the word startup did not exist. Like, there's no such thing. And I was doing amazing work far ahead of my level. Okay. And when my contract came to an end after 1 month, after 1 year, excuse me, the next, the pivot was to work in Tunbridge Wells, which was a beautiful town in like 2.5 hours away from London. And I tried it out for less than a month, driving back and forth a few times a week and stuff. I was like, bro, this is not for me. And honestly, there was no way I was going to update my resume. Okay. There was absolutely no way. I'm not a lazy guy. All right. But I said to myself, bro, I would rather play FIFA at this computer than type up a resume and start job hunting in London. I am done. Okay. I've done New York. I did Hong Kong. Amazing experience. I've done London. Amazing experience. I'm joining my father. So I called my dad, listen, I'm coming back, I'm joining you. He's like, how, where, what? You know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, I thought you'd be happy. I'm your son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But my dad is a business partner, obviously, my uncle, right? And I wasn't very close to my uncle. Now I'm very close to my uncle, right? And at that time, I don't know what rifts they have, but I think, I have to suffer because of everyone's rift. I have to suffer because of my dad's rift with his brother. I have to suffer because of my dad's rift with my mom. You know what I mean? I'm the one who ends up suffering all the time. And so I had to slowly, softly. My dad had to integrate me into the business, okay, or at least that he was what he was thinking and stuff. So I had a very uneasy relationship with my uncle for a very long time because I thought he didn't want me to be a part of it. Now I still till today don't know whether he did or he didn't or whatever. But I'm very much a part of it now. But I also know that once I got married, I think my uncle really realized that this woman coming to our family is going to have zero support network from my father and his wife. I think he could plainly see it. And like an angel, he created a relationship with me, okay? And gave me a lot of guidance about getting married and stuff. And he was like, keep your wife away from your father and your stepmother and stuff. And maybe not in those words. And he's like, your job is to look after your wife. Okay. It's now all on you. And you just keep her happy. And if run into any issues, you come to me. And that was pretty much it. And from then, my relationship with my uncle just skyrocketed. It was amazing. I almost feel as though my father lied to me about him all those years, right? And stuff. And I really don't know, and I never will know. And when I've inquired, I'm just blanked and so forth. That's why I'm telling you, I'm very lucky to be where I am now. Yeah. I'm grateful to be where I am now, but I carved out my own luck, bro. Okay? I've been told by both of them in anger, bro, maybe over 1,000, 26 years, how many days is that? At least 1,000 times by my father, potentially 100 times by my uncle, you can get out. You're not happy, get out, right? And I was like, I ain't going anywhere.
But surely they would have been happy.
These people cannot be happy. And this is what we talked about downstairs, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I told you this, right, off camera. And I told you that you asked me how I'm feeling and stuff, right? And I was like, I think my current struggle, it's not a struggle, right? It's like a concern, right? My wife, where she is in her life, I'm not castigating them in any ways or degrading them. I'm giving my personal opinion, and my opinion is coming out of not feeling sorry for them and stuff, but I want to be very hopeful that they live good lives. Okay, so the only people important to me. Okay, all right, truly, all right. I hope we get 8 million views, bro. I'm telling you, everybody should hear this story. Okay. Every time I do a type of interview like this, right? Okay, my mom will come when she sees it, will yell the living shit out of me. Okay, her sisters will send her the reels that people create. People think they'll interview me and they'll cut maybe 1, 2, 3 reels. It becomes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 because they see the drip up. They see, and they see that they just keep getting views, keep getting views and stuff, right? And I'll tell you honestly, like, look, I have love for the whole world. I have love for Donald Trump. I have love for everybody. Okay. I'm, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a human hater, bro. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. I'm not a human hater. People ask me all the time in the comments, will you make clothes for Putin? I was like, gladly. did you ever make clothes for Epstein? I was like, don't know who he is, don't know his story, don't care. I got my own problems, but I hope he's one of my clients. You know, what other people hate is not my problem. You know what I mean? You can hate who you want. Cascade has nothing to do with me. I got my own problems. You know what I mean? So the most important people in my life, okay, are my father, my uncle, my wife, and my 3 children.
Yeah.
Okay. And that importance is born out mostly responsibility. Okay.
Sure.
All right. I wish I could say love. That doesn't mean I don't love them. Far from it. Okay. But that importance is born truly out of responsibility. Okay. I don't even think, I feel at all. I was so burdened, right? Self-burdened. Self-burden doesn't mean you're caged or it stops you from moving forward, right? It's just a feeling, all right? It's how you deal with it. That, I owe my father and uncle so much. I don't feel that anymore. It's something you have to accept. You have to digest, okay? You have to digest that you owe what came before you, okay? And that's what I feel. And I feel that about everything. I feel that about Hong Kong, okay? When I was graduating KG5, so I think I graduated in 95. In 94, Chris Patton came to our school and he was falling asleep on stage, okay? And Chris Patton was the last governor of Hong Kong. I had had dinner with him, luckily, a couple of years before. He was a good friend of my father at the time. He bought a lot of clothes from us during his tenure here. And my father has seen him intermittently over the years. If I'm not mistaken, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I saw him in my shop. I can't remember. I was a different person back then. You know what I mean? So I think I met him during my haze years and stuff. And he said something very, he said, he just imitated John Kennedy, okay, JFK, right? He just said, don't ask what Hong Kong should do for you. Ask what you should do for Hong Kong. At that time, bro, we didn't have the internet, okay? So I didn't have this JFK stuff ringing in my ear, all right? I only had Chris Patton saying, my governor, my father's friend, I loved it that he's the governor of Hong Kong and he's my father's friend and client. Right? I loved it that he came one day, I don't know what year it was, 93 maybe, right? And he came to order clothes in the shop one evening and they closed all of Nathan Road. And then we drove across Nathan Road in his cars, his Buick, I can't remember what type of car it was, but the governor's car to this Indian restaurant and had dinner there. It was, bro, I mean, you're making magic here. You know what I'm saying? This is movie stuff. You know what I mean? I'm loving this stuff. And 93, I'm sitting with the governor of Hong Kong and having dinner with him. My father's hosting him. I loved it and stuff. So, he said this and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm a patriot, okay? And I believe in power and I believe in proximity. Now, I didn't know these terms then, okay? But these terms, especially after social unrest, right, suddenly became a huge part of my life, right? And, I don't like people complaining and stuff. And, if you complain, if you bitch, if you diss, just leave. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to stay and be somebody. Stay and do something, right? Stay and create, stay and help. Right? Otherwise, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? And that's my genuine belief. And I tell you right here, right now, I may not be Chinese, right? I may have a British passport. I'm as Indian as they come. Okay. But I've never had as close an association to China that I have right now. And that was all born out of social unrest and the bullshit that I've heard since then. And with the explosion of social media and the trash that is out there and the negativity that is out there and stuff. And it is just all these terms and all this stuff I've learned about me it has been born out of other people's hatred. You know what I mean? Like out of other people's negativity. And, I feel so amazing about myself. You know what I mean? I couldn't wait to take the vaccine. I was like, give it to me. You know what I mean? Let me be the first. And let me tell everybody about it and so forth. I love my city. I wanted to prosper and so forth. And I think, like a huge... like my father and uncle, they will be like, business is so much worse now than it was before, okay? And, what's very difficult, right? And this is, where my wife is amazing, okay? What's very difficult is that no matter what I've accomplished now, since the social unrest, okay? What I've accomplished is huge, okay? Very dynamic, very interesting, very silly, very fun, very strange, but very global. Okay. Okay. But it still did not generate enough income.
You're talking about the social media.
I'm talking about any
aspect.
of my antics that I've done.
Right.
Anything. But
Okay.
my government work, my community work, anything, me walking, talking, my workouts, whatever. I broadcast my whole life. Okay.
Yeah.
People come to me for different reasons. Okay. People don't just come to me because I slap people's ass. People come to me because I make great suits. People come to me because I make great speeches. People come to me because they love my workouts. People come
Yeah.
to me because they love my relationship with my children. Okay. They absolutely love it. You know, people come to me because I'm a patriot. People come to me because I love Hong Kong. I believe in power and proximity. People come to me because I have a winning racehorse. People come to me for my whole life. Okay, and they also avoid me for that, right? Listen, Cristiano Ronaldo, there's 4 billion, there are 8 billion people on the planet. 4 billion love him, 4 billion hate him. There are 4 billion. Why would you hate the guy? But they love Messi. Okay, bro, he's got 4 billion people loving him. It's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? And so forth. You can't make anybody happy, right? So, but no matter what I've accomplished, right? And I can list it all out and I can show you a whole portfolio of accomplishments. I still can't make as much money, okay, as my father and uncle did. Okay, I still can't make as much money as I did in my first 20 years until the social unrest. And that's not my fault.
Yeah.
It's everything against me. You know, social unrest, you know, people canceling their trips to Hong Kong, COVID, lockdown, you know, the economy's slow to pick up, like nothing. So it's like, I would love it, right? My dad and uncle would say to me, bro, you work so hard. It's all good. You've done great. Okay. Instead, they say, no matter what you've done, you still can't do what we did. I think you guys are dicks. You know what I mean? To openly say, does that really make you happy when I'm working? Like I cannot work harder than I'm working. And I could have sat there on all my cash and did nothing.
Right. That make
Like
you
they did.
feel undervalued.
It's a coward's way out, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you think that, right? Like, I don't need shrink, I don't need Prozac and stuff. I don't need anything to make me feel good about myself, right? So, like, I mean, you can't say to yourself that you feel undervalued, right?
Yeah.
If something is a reality, it is a reality, right? You can't let that poison you, influence you, and so forth. My wife will tell me, okay, God bless her, right? She's like, your father and uncle obviously know how much you've done, this, that. Who could pivot like you? You've saved Sam Steelers. You're the savior of Sam Steelers. And there's 1 million people who have said that to me, right? Including existing clients from the past. Like, Roshan, what you've done, we absolutely love. Okay. So existing client that we've had going back to the 80s or the 70s that have, you know, seen my antics, okay, and said anything other than amazing things to me. Okay. They've never been turned off by anything that I've done. They just see the reality of what it is and they say, hats off to you. And I tell my wife, I said, babe, doesn't matter what you say and doesn't matter what you think. These two guys don't think that way. You can't knock on their doors, okay? They have their own agenda. You can't water down their walls. And that's pretty much it. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to do what they want to do. They're going to think what they want to think. They're going to say what they want to say, okay? I tell her always, I don't want to fight with these guys anymore because they're so old. I spent 20 years fighting with them. Last 5 years, I'm chilled. I just want peace. I want peace. I have a lot. I want more. I'm going to still keep grinding, but I'm very grounded.
Yeah.
Okay? And yeah. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm grounded. I don't own a supercar. I don't fly business class. I cannot eat this table, bro. Avi, I'm full. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? There's obviously more. Do I want to be Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos? Who wouldn't? I think people are lying, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're lying to themselves. They're lying to the world. I would love it, but am I fixated on it? No. Am I wishing for it? I don't wish for anything. Am I praying for it? No. I pray for health. I pray for my kids' health. You know what I'm saying? I pray for my father's health. I'm not going to waste my prayers on garbage.
Yeah.
Waste my prayers on money. You want money, go and make money. You want fame, go and make yourself famous. You can make money. You can be famous. I talk about this to people all the time. Okay? You shouldn't pray for it. You shouldn't hope for it. You shouldn't wish it. Right? You got to go on and do it and stuff.
So let's talk about the fame, because that's obviously come with like what you've been doing on.
But I was born famous.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and I genuinely believe that, right? And you know, people are always irked by that answer. And whether it's true or not, it's something that I believe. I just believe I was famous.
Yeah.
Now, if we go back to the 80s, okay? You started this. I told you it'll be, if you tell me to start from my childhood, it's a long journey. So I'll take a photo of Kylie Minogue, a 3-hour photo, and I'll show it off to everybody, okay? And I'm in Form 1 or something. And some people will go nuts about it, especially
Yeah.
the girls, because it's Kylie. And the guys won't like it. They show off, this asshole. Why is he coming and showing up? Okay. When the Britannia came, I had stuff from the Queen had given. I set up a display in class, and a lot of people like, you're a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't give a shit about this stuff.
Yeah.
What are you showing it up? If famous footballers like Kevin Keegan came, famous snooker players like Stephen Hendry came, the 3-hour photos of them and my father, not even me. I come and show the teacher, and the teacher would do a show and tell. This isn't Calvin Jr. People tell me, bro, you're a dick. I say, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to spread. I have been spreading my name and my business since I was a child in the 1980s when I didn't even know what I was doing. Okay, I sat in art class in like Form 3 or Form 4 or something. Did you grow up here? You did, right?
Yes.
So you understand what I'm saying. And okay, so like we had to go through magazines. Okay, so one week there was the Post magazine, and there was an article on my father. And I was like, oh, check this out, this article on my dad. Okay, whatever. Irks some people, okay? Maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, same thing happened. 1 or 2 weeks later, same shit fucking happened. Somebody had a go at me. I said, fuck this nigga, okay? Fuck this guy. Okay, excuse my language. Please edit that word out. And I said to 3 guys that were sitting next to me, I said, listen, I give you $100 each, okay? You make your whole project, draw Sam Tailor in any which way you want, okay? I'll open my wallet, I take out the $100 each, and I give it to these 3 guys, and they did it. And these other guys who were dicks towards me, and accusing me of being a show off and all this stuff, will see that, right? But bro, listen, man, this is marketing. You can call it whatever you want, okay? Why is it okay for a giant billboard? Someone can pay $1 million, $2 million for the giant billboard, $10 million to the actor that Gwyneth Paltrow, Cristiano Ronaldo. That's okay. I can't market in my way. I was born to do this shit, bro. It was innate to me. Okay, I was so proud of everything my father was accomplishing that I would do whatever I could to paste it everywhere, and I didn't care.
I want to talk about some of the ways you have been marketing on social media.
Go for it.
Some of the chatter around some of your videos. Some might call them controversial.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read back some of the quotes that are synonymous to your videos. Beautifully gift wrapped. Let me unwrap this boy. Look at his ass. Let me touch you. Are you over 18? Where did you get the idea for these videos? And what would you say to those who are calling these videos inappropriate, controversial, whatever, and may think that the tone is inappropriate?
Bro, I went globally viral. Before I even went globally viral, my kids would come and tell me during COVID that, Papa, people everywhere in KG5 are playing Sam Tailor. And you know what is Sam Tailor? Is one guy is pretending to be Roshan, one guy a girl.
Yeah.
One guy is pretending to be the customer, and one kid is recording. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's going all over KG5, and then it went all over the world, and it went to Canada and United States and South America, all across Europe. I don't think anyone in Africa made it, all across Asia and Australasia. And everybody was imitating me, okay? And they were sending me videos, posting videos. It was insane, okay? It was absolutely nuts, okay? We go heavier into lockdown. People, instead of playing charades, okay? They're playing Sam Tailor. People in their 20s and 30s trying to make the best Sam Tailor video in their own home and competing against each other. What do I have to say? I don't have to say anything to anybody, okay? I'm not done. I don't have to say anything to anybody. Everybody can say what they want.
Yeah.
I don't know who these people are. I have no idea. This is not President Trump telling me this. This is not John Lee telling me this. I'll tell you something. In 2021, 4 years ago, I got made a Justice of Peace by Carrie Lam. With my antics flying all over the world. You think about the Home Affairs Department, the government didn't vet? Huh? Every year for Handover Day, National Day, I get invited by the chief executive to attend the ceremony. What, I'm not vetted by the Home Affairs Department? For the last 3 years, including this year, I've been invited by the Consul General of the United States to Hong Kong to attend his 4th of July function. I'm vetted by the Homeland Security, okay? In order to get the invitation, I'm vetted by Homeland Security after I accept the invitation, okay? I went to HKUST this year, one of our big 6 universities, to give a huge speech. CUHK, the year before. HK Baptist University, a couple of years before that. I'm going to King's College London this year.
Yeah.
Okay, to speak. Bro, you're talking about people in the comments? Who are they? Is it Elon Musk? Is it Jeff Bezos? Is it President Trump? Is it John Lee? Who is it? Is it Sir Keir Starmer? Who's the guy in the comments? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about the hate. I can't sell suits to the whole world. I don't have the capacity to. Okay? I can only sell a bunch of suits a day. All right? People come every single day, take a photo with me. People come every single day, buy suits from me. People treat my kids good. People treat me good. Everywhere I go is goodness.
Yeah.
You talking about the comments? You got to be kidding me.
I mean,
I'll tell you something. There's nothing anybody says to me that can faze me.
yeah.
There's nothing that I'm not ready to talk about. There's nothing I cannot answer. Play back your audio. There's no stutter.
Yeah.
Okay? The harder you go, the harder anyone comes at me about anything, the harder I can come back.
Yeah.
I can play anyone's game. Okay? I can play a game with anybody. It's better not to play. What I tell you is better. I'm not telling you. I told you, you ask me anything. You're my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate you. Don't ever feel intimidated by me. But what I'm telling you is this, and this is what I teach my kids.
Yeah.
And, a lot of reporters take umbrage with this. I tell them, anybody tells you anything, remind them who's your father before they do anything.
Yeah.
And that's me. That's the way I'm built. This is not recent. This is preordained. Okay? I didn't invent the social unrest and I didn't invent COVID. All right? But this was from within me. And it was fast. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And we are having a great time. Oh my goodness, people are having a great time. Everybody's so happy, bro. I got how many videos that broke 1 million views, broke 2 million views? Bro, yesterday, okay, overnight I wake up to one silly video of me at my desk hitting 5 million views. One silly video of me smacking a guy with an umbrella hitting 1 million views. And what are my David Dobrik videos reaching 2 million views? People are watching, they enjoying it. It's entertainment, bro.
Yeah.
Why is nobody on Saturday Night Live's ass? I mean, look at the language and the humor and how they go after people. Why is no one after Tom Segura? Look at the stuff that he says. Why is no one after all these comedians and their disgusting language and whatever you can call it disgusting? I call it comedy, right? These people are going after everybody. They're going after their own nation's leaders. They are born, they have a passport of a country, and they're going after their own leader, elected leader, democratically elected leader incessantly. Why aren't they getting shit? You think I care about any of the shit that I get?
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that you don't. I just wanted to kind of find out, like, what was the idea and the motivation? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that it's
I think
banter.
Look,
Yeah.
no, I think you're completely wrong there. Not I think I know. Remember? You're 100% wrong. People are cowards. They come to hate. Okay? You know what a coward is? Is someone who hurts. Okay? Coward joins the herd and hates. That's all it is. I stood up in front of the Chinese University of Hong Kong and I tried to explain this concept to them.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it. They're cowards. This is a blanket statement. Wow. Right? I'm giving it to you. Judge me how you want. Right? I cannot go and say to somebody, bro, you don't like something, just keep quiet, move on. You don't like a restaurant, why do you want to write a bad review? I mean, I don't write bad reviews. I think to myself, you know what I mean? Of course, you're going to read reviews on restaurants. That's natural, right? Especially when you're visiting another country. Generally, I don't want to read reviews. My wife will say, oh, the reviews here are good. I'd much rather go to a place my friend owns, okay, and give him my business.
Yeah.
Or my client owns, and just sit there, I don't look at the menu. Bro, make me what you want, okay? I cannot understand why a person, why a human being, okay, would write a bad review about a business. Why would you want to hurt a business? What is the motivation? What does that say to you, to us, about that human being? That this human being, okay, wants to write something bad to hurt a business. I'll give you the answer. It's just born out of anger and frustration.
Yeah.
Something bad happened, which is out of the norm, and that's it. And they went and vented, which is like, right, okay, they did it, fine. You know what I'm saying? you don't need to read it and believe it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
long before me, Tony Robbins came and he talked about positivity and so forth. You know what I'm saying? I'm not someone who gave birth to positivity. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've never been to a Tony Robbins conference. I don't believe in any of the self-help stuff. All right. But it's just not me. You know what I mean? I'm here to help myself. Really, I am. I don't know if that sounds narcissistic. I don't know if it sounds egotistical. I don't know if it sounds, I mean, it's definitely arrogant, right? But I'm here to help myself. I don't want help from people. I don't want people to help me. I don't want to owe anybody anything.
Isn't that what self-help is? Helping yourself?
Helping yourself, yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. I don't want help from other people. I just want to help myself. And that's that. And that makes me feel good about me, right?
Yeah.
I feel shit if I hurt my wife. She gets upset. I said, why are you getting upset? You see? They're just words. You have everything. You know what I mean? And so forth. And I feel shit when my kids are upset. I never upset my kids, right? They're upset about silly things. What are you upset for? You have everything. And I tell my father, you're upset all the time, bro. But there's no point even saying that. You know what I mean? Like, I think we can all help ourselves. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What I was trying to say was, what I meant to say was that I don't want to go to a bookshop and buy a book on self-help, okay? I don't want to listen to someone preach to me on self-help, right? I already have the mindset, I believe, that whatever problems we encounter in our life, whatever comes our way, we should embark on our own journey to solve them.
Got it. Where do you think you get your kind of no shits attitude from?
Maybe bullying,
Okay.
maybe castigation,
Yeah.
society, right? You know what I'm saying? I think it has to stem from that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine where it would stem from. You know what I mean? I think any bullying that I was exposed to when my parents split was quite harsh.
Okay.
And yeah, I was just like, gosh, I don't want to be that type of guy.
Yeah.
I don't mind to physically bully someone. Excuse me. I don't mind to intimidate somebody. Okay. If you screw with me, right? I don't mind to use my words and my physicality, my physique, my persona
Like defend yourself.
to intimidate you back. Right. I don't just defend myself. No Mr. Miyagi shit from me. I just intimidate you back and stuff. Right. I don't go looking to pick a fight. I don't go looking to tease. Okay. I don't go looking to bully. But you asked me a question, and I think that's the best answer I can give you. I think that I was very hurt by many things as a child and stuff, and that made me very, very strong. You can either be meek and, I don't know, cower, and I don't want to be the coward. I want to be Rocky and Rambo, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it, right? And I've had a lot of friends always. I've been heads of organizations. I've thrown huge parties, personal ones, parties for organizations. I've attended functions. I've gone to people's weddings. I had the most insane 8 consecutive day and night wedding, meaning 8 consecutive days and 2 occasions a day, full-on Indian wedding in Hong Kong, no flyaway, okay? And stuff. And, I've gone years and years throwing myself a birthday party. I've gone years and years throwing my wife a birthday party and stuff, right? And yeah, I'm sort of just done. You know what I mean? I just realized that I've tried everything, and I like the loner shit better. You know what I mean? Like it's just it just feels amazing. You get what I mean? Like to have no obligation to anybody in any ways. Now let me finish this before you judge, because I've said this to a lot of people before, and then my disclaimer comes in. Again, my disclaimer is not a disclaimer. My disclaimer is how lucky I am. To have no obligation other than to spend time with your wife and children is the best thing in the world. But why am I like that? Because I didn't realize how lucky I was, and it was just happening to me all the time. Every hour on the hour, I meet someone new. And every hour on the hour, I make a new friend. Because every hour on the hour, I have a new client.
Yeah.
Right? So my days are so fulfilled. Okay? And then I don't need to go out and have a drink and burn off steam or whatever and stuff. And once I realized that, gosh, I should, actually take all the love that I'm getting every hour on the hour from a different client and, harness that love. rather than, expending energy to meet people, to organize events, to organize plans, to go out for dinners, to talk to someone, talk to them about what, talk to them. Everyone you sit and talk to is jealous. The more successful you are, the more money you make. People are jealous. It's innate. It's innate. I genuinely believe that. You know what I mean? Many people will tell me, the people closest to me will say, no, people are not like that. I say, yeah, people are like that. You know what I mean? I genuinely believe that. You know what I mean? People like that. I never found anyone in my life who's happy for me. You know what I'm saying? Friends and stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah. So like when I was telling you earlier, having shed myself of friends is this amazing thing because I wasn't harnessing this wonderful thing that I already had.
Part of the shunning the friends thing resonates with me because I'm a bit of an introvert, if believe it or not.
But I'm not an introvert.
Yeah. So,
but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not an introvert, right? Like and stuff. And I don't believe you're an introvert. I don't know why you would say that about yourself. I'm not saying you're something bad.
extroverted introvert.
I don't know. Okay. I think you're a great guy. Okay.
Thanks.
Right? Like I'm very fond of you. So I think what's amazing, and this is why I'm so happy with my life, okay, is that what I realized is that people that I was making an effort to spend time with were just and fucked up fucking people. Do you understand what I'm saying? And actually, I know you intermittently. You met me, you asked me for something, I say, fuck, it's done, bro.
Yeah.
We worked out together, we had a great time. We're here today having a great chat.
Yeah.
And stuff. I would much rather put my trust in someone blindly like you and see where it goes. Because that's life.
Yeah.
That's the type of Russian roulette I'd rather play. You know what I mean? I don't gamble, I don't drink. I own a horse, I never even bet on my horse in my life.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of Russian roulette I'd like to do.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Move, Sweat, Discover. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and write us a 5-star review. See you next time.